All right, out of respect for your time, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Again, thank you all so much for being here today and taking some time out of your summer to join us. While it's super unfortunate that we weren't able to move forward with our summer conference, it was really important to us that we were able to provide some opportunities for you guys throughout the summer to join us in the learning. I am recording this, and we will also be taking this session today and putting it in Schoology so that you can access later as a resource, but also for any of your friends or teammates who weren't able to join that were interested, we will have an asynchronous opportunity available for them as well. And the same is true for all of our summer virtual learning sessions that we will be offering throughout the summer. So if you see any that you weren't able to attend, just know that there are some asynchronous opportunities coming with those as well. I know I had mentioned this before, or right when we hopped on, but I wanted to make sure to say it again. If your name for some reason is different from like your actual name, I know when you sometimes join Zoom from a personal device or a device that you don't often use, it has a different name in there, or maybe it just has like a nickname. If you will, just make sure to throw your name in the chat so that we have your name captured and that you can get credit from our learning and our time together today. I want to make sure everyone gets that credit. All right. Happy Monday morning. I hope everyone had a great long weekend. I'm super excited to be here today and to talk a little bit about AI in education. A little bit about myself. So we made these a while back when we first ran this session, and you might notice I actually used AI to write the blurb about myself and also to create this image. So we're going to find today that AI can really help increase our efficiency and do some pretty incredible things. But I am Amanda Mask. I'm the coordinator of digital learning here in the district. I'm very passionate about all things digital learning and how technology and digital learning tools and resources can really deepen learning for our kids, give them opportunities to create, to make meaning. And specifically for I by no means know it all, and I'm on my own journey. And like technology as a whole, AI is constantly changing and evolving. And so what was true yesterday might be different tomorrow as new things develop, as new tools become more readily available. But I'm very excited about the potential for AI, especially for us as educators, and how it can just increase our own efficiency and productivity and the many, many things that I know you all have on your plate on a daily basis. So here's the norms for today. Just these are our CISD norms. So remember to respect others while we're on our call today. Practice active listening, maintain an open mind, and we're going to participate while being mindful to others. Of course, the chat is there and available, so feel free to ask any questions, to converse with one another using the chat. I am the only one on this call today, so I don't really have someone facilitating it, so I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on that chat. Also, feel free to unmute at any point, share any questions or ahas or anything you'd like to share for the greater good of the group as well. Just a reminder, I know you've seen these many times. Here's our CISD core values. Really, today we're focusing a lot on the great teaching aspect and how AI can help be a tool that we use when we think about great teaching in our classroom. All right, we're going to take a minute to play a game called That's Me. Has anyone ever played That's Me before? So for this That's Me, usually if we were face to face, I would ask you to stand up and say, "That's me," if one of these statements that I'm about to read is true for you. But since you guys, we're not all together this morning, I'm going to ask you to use the reactions at the bottom of your screen. So you'll see a little button that says react. And feel free to give me a thumbs up or any of those gestures that you would like to use. Also, since I've been on Zoom last, they've gotten some new things, and it has the option, if you are updated, it'll actually notice your gesture. So I think sometimes if you like put your hand up or if you give a thumbs up, it'll actually acknowledge that you're making that gesture. There it is, if you have that feature turned on. So if you do want to use your hand to actually physically give a thumbs up on the camera, feel free to do so, or use any of those gestures provided within Zoom. But I'm going to read a series of statements, and if any of these are true for you, if you will just, again, use that react feature or physically make the reaction, that would be great. So I regularly find myself using the phrase, "Hey Siri," or saying "Alexa." As my phone is like,
I don't
what?
see Alexa in your contacts.
Not talking to you, Siri. Oh, yes, we have a lot of friends using Alexa or Siri. I use Grammarly to proofread my writing and make suggestions. I don't know about you guys, but you do not want to read my emails without Grammarly. Every once in a while, it'll turn off and I'll realize I'm not logged in. I'm like, oh, I need to get logged back in. I have lots of typos. I enjoy seeing content in my social media feeds that is applicable and relevant. Anybody? As much as I say I hate it, without fail, it always serves me some really great ads. I'm like, how did you know? Yes, I do need this product in my life. I've chatted with a chatbot to resolve a problem. Got several people. Nice. I use my GPS to find real-time suggestions on the fastest route home. My commute is very short, but I know if anyone has a long commute that using that GPS to find the fastest route home is probably a game changer. Um, Here's the last one. I've used AI in my everyday life and didn't even know it. If any of you gave a thumbs up to one of those to one of those statements, the reality is that that is a piece of AI. Like you're using AI as part of your everyday life. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into different components of AI. And while it might not feel like some of the generative texts that are the newer pieces within AI that we're really talking about and seeing hit the scene, all of those things actually rely on AI to provide solutions or to help with efficiency in your everyday life. So that's just fun little fact to kick us off here. So here's our agenda for the day. We're going to talk about what is artificial intelligence, look at some of the implications of AI on education. We're going to take some time to explore a few tools, and then hopefully time provided, we'll have some time for you to actually apply and practice some of these new skills and think about how they can help you in your everyday work and also help with that efficiency and productivity. So again, for this, I'm going to ask you to use the chat. Where are you in your understanding of AI? If you are new in your understanding of AI, if you'll put a number 1 in the chat. If you know a little bit about AI, a number 2. And if you've studied and can teach about AI, number 3. And then I'm also going to make you a co-host so you can help me teach this session today. Give you guys just a minute to type that in the chat. Awesome. Seeing lots of 1s and 2s. I feel like with anything, like while I've studied AI, I can teach about it. Tomorrow it might be different because there really are just so many new things, which is also part of what makes it really exciting to me is just to see how, whether it's AI or any other technology, how it continues to grow and develop and what that means for us as educators and for our learners in the classroom. I like to share this fun little story about me. This is my AI in everyday life, and I didn't realize how much I loved AI until some of these things happened. But does anybody get the from Starbucks? Mine's always on a Friday morning because that's usually the day that I'm like, I'm too tired to make coffee. I just want Starbucks and a bagel. And my phone would pop up and say, hey, do you want me to go ahead and order your usual latte? Because I know it's Friday and I know you're headed to work and I know that you always order your latte. And then my other personal story that I love to share about AI is there was one year not too long ago that I ate way too much Schlotzsky's for lunch. Like every single day, I went to Schlotzsky's and got a sandwich for lunch. And it was a holiday, it was a long weekend. I think we had Monday off for some reason. And I was about an hour and a half away, and on my watch, I got a notification that says, you need to leave right now to make it to your destination. So I start panicking. I'm like, what important meeting or appointment do I have today that I've completely forgotten about? And then I look a little bit further just to notice that my watch is really having my back and letting me know, hey, it's time to head back to Coppell so you can get your Schlotzsky sandwich for lunch. So that's my fun AI story. Again, just another piece of AI that oftentimes we forget is artificial intelligence, is when our watches or our phones are making those suggestions based off our daily routines or habits that it's learned. Does anyone else have any fun stories like that? Some people on my team share like on their phone their most used or favorite apps. Duo is always at the top, and knows that we like to use us some Duo to get into all of our platforms here. I see some hands raised. I just want to make sure that our hands are raised, not because we need to share, but maybe because we were saying that's me. If for some reason you do need to share, please again feel free to unmute and just let me know. I know we talked about a few of these things in AI in our everyday lives when we played the That's Me game, but if you'll take just a minute to look at these different things, and in the chat box, if you'll just type, what are these everyday pieces that you find yourself using most in your everyday life? Is it like me, where it's looking out for you and saying like, hey, don't forget you got to make it to Schlotzsky's, and you're really using that maps and navigation? But are any of these pieces familiar to you and things that you use regularly in your everyday life? They are, if you'll just add it to the chat. And maybe you have one that's not on the list. Feel free to add that to the chat as well. Lots of maps, autocorrect, lots of text editors. Ooh, smart home devices. Believe it or not, I recently just got some like smart home Alexa devices in my house. And of course, my husband's decided all the lights need to be powered by Alexa now. So that's been fun. So I think it's safe to say, as I look at the chat, many of us are using AI in our everyday lives, whether we realize it or not. I always like to share this meme. I don't know if any of you have seen it before. I'm going to give you a minute to see if you can figure out. It says, if you get it, you get it. You figure out what it says. Do you guys remember the predictive text? And you had to like type the number multiple times to get to the certain letter? I used to be so fast at it, but now thinking about texting that way, while you guys are looking at it and trying to figure out what it says, again, I just want to reiterate, I am by no means an expert, and I'm excited to continue to have the opportunity to learn alongside you guys. At a conference, back in February, someone came up to me and like, what is it like to be a technology expert? And I was so quick to be like, I by no means am an expert. The one thing that I do know is change is constant when it comes to technology, and it's never about being an expert at technology. It's about being an expert at asking questions, lifelong learning, and some of those different skills and components that we honestly want for our kids as well. They're never going to be an expert in the latest and greatest technology because there's always something new. But how do we build those skills, that critical thinking, the questioning skills that we really want them to have? So, did anyone figure out what it says? Oh, we got someone that got it. You are old. It makes me feel really old when I do see the cell phone and remember playing the snake game on the cell phone. Did anyone remember the snake game on the cell phone? Had a really good time with that. So really the reason I share this, I know it's a funny, but I like to have this conversation specifically when we are thinking about AI. I love this timeline and just considering how much technology has changed. So I'm going to give you guys, I have the timeline on the screen. This was actually shared from Apple. It's a version of their innovation timeline. Um, I want to give you guys a minute to look at this timeline. What are some of the things that you notice? If you'll take a minute just to think about what do you notice and add those wonders or ahas to the chat. I know when I was looking at this, it was interesting. Does anyone know what the 2023 icon is there? That ChatGPT logo. When you think about our current first graders in 2017, that was like the year that they were born, and they were born into the world of augmented reality, virtual reality. But thinking about our kindergartners today, never knowing a world without generative text such as AI, Chat GPT, like they'll never know a world without that. So what does that mean as they're learning? I love some of the comments in here. Technology evolves rapidly. It's ever changing. Thinking about more competition, the demands for consumers. I'm curious to see what the next decade brings. I love that. So just kind of keep this in mind as we're going through our content for today. I know for me, there's some really big ahas just thinking about the world in which I grew up in, but then also thinking about what is the world going to look like as our kids go through their educational careers and what it looks like as they join the job field. So what is AI and why does it matter? Okay, we're going to hope this video plays. It's been a minute since I've played a video through Zoom, so fingers crossed. If you guys will give me a thumbs up if you can hear this.
Artificial intelligence.
Can we hear it? Okay, good.
Intelligence, or AI, is a branch of computer science focused on creating intelligent machines that can learn, reason, and act like humans. While that may sound like science fiction, AI is already part of our everyday lives. At its core, AI relies on machine learning algorithms. These are programs that can analyze data and learn from experience without being explicitly programmed. For example, a machine learning algorithm can be fed thousands of cat and dog photos to learn how to distinguish between the two animals. It identifies patterns in the data that humans might miss. Every time you talk to Siri or Alexa, get a Netflix recommendation, or see ads tailored specifically to you on social media, you're interacting with an AI system. AI is becoming integrated into more and more aspects of modern life. For teachers, AI holds exciting potential to enhance education. Large language models can help draft lesson plans, rubrics, and written communication. Chatbots can quickly help educators access information about instruction and student learning. Virtual teaching assistants can help teachers grade assignments, provide feedback, and answer common student questions. Artificial intelligence can help complete repetitive tasks, freeing up teachers' time, allowing them to focus on the human aspects of education, mentoring, and inspiring and guiding students. AI is simply a tool to help teachers do what they do best: teach. With the right approach, AI can make teachers' lives easier while opening up new possibilities for every student. The future of education is bright when humans and intelligent machines work together. Oh, and by the way, I'm not a real person. I was made with AI. My name is Larry, and this human text-to-speech feature was powered by artificial intelligence. See what I mean? AI is everywhere. For more information on AI in education, please visit the Monroe 2BOCES website.
What did we think? Any aha as you were watching the video? I know the first time I watched this and it got to the end and it said, I am actually powered by AI and I'm not a human. My mind was completely blown. So as you're thinking about all the opportunities with AI, I do want to acknowledge that anytime that I've had conversations around AI, and oftentimes I find myself in this position too, my feelings sometimes shift or change towards AI and what it's being used for. So I want you guys just to take a minute to acknowledge, like, how are you feeling towards AI? Like, you think it's the best thing ever? It's okay. I'm not sure. They're just going to take over the world, and it is okay. And I know that oftentimes we are all in a different place and a different span when we think about our feelings towards that. And that is a-okay. Like I said, there are days that I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. And then other days too that I see the possibilities and how it's being used in the classroom, and it excites me about the potential. So know that wherever you're at in your journey, it is okay, but it is important that we understand what it is and what it can do as it is here. And believe it or not, even if our kids don't have access to it on our Wi-Fi, it is still very much a part of their everyday lives and something that they're constantly using, and something that we as educators can use as well, just to increase our own efficiency and productivity. So I like to share this meme. Has anyone ever seen this one? Give you just a minute to read it. It's okay wherever you're at in your journey. And today, as we dive into some of these tools, you by no means have to participate. You're welcome just to watch and learn by watching. But if you do want to dive in and try some of the things, I encourage you to do so. But I do always find myself saying, please. I don't know if it's really because I think that it could take over the world and I want to be polite just in case it does one day. But I just thought that this was funny to always start with, can you please? And remember to be polite when we're using AI. So here's a definition of artificial intelligence. It leverages computers and machines to mimic the problem solving and decision making capabilities of the human mind. So when you think about, I know when we played the That's Me game, there was many different levels and not all of it was generative text, which is most commonly what people are talking about today when we're talking about artificial intelligence. But that artificial intelligence is that big umbrella that covers things such as Siri, Alexa, chatbots, and then underneath that big umbrella, we have something called machine learning. So this is our computers learning from experience and data without human programming. So just like when my phone was learning, hey, you eat a lot of Schlotzsky's and every day you find yourself at Schlotzsky's for lunch. It's learning based off experience. And then you have large language models. That's a trained deep learning model that understands and generates text in a human-like fashion. So this is when you're thinking things like ChatGPT, Copilot. There are so many more, and it feels like every single day there are more platforms and programs with generative text. You can give it a prompt, and it's going to provide you a human-like response. And so all of those pieces, I love this graphic because for me it really helped me better understand, I think, all the different components. Again, artificial intelligence is that big umbrella, and for you guys, I just want you to know that there are other pieces within that. So some of those things that sometimes are so ingrained into our everyday life that we might not even realize are being powered by artificial intelligence, such as your map finding the fastest directions for you on the way home, all the way down to that generative AI piece, which is generating text. It can even generate audio, images, based on content that it's been pre-trained with, because it is learning from the data that we put into different platforms and programs. I'm going to do a quick glance at the chat before I jump into the next piece, make sure there are no questions. All right. All right, so how do we prepare? We know that we looked at the timeline, we know technology is changing. How do we prepare for a world with AI? And I think back to what I talked about before about not being a technology expert, it is by no means, oh, hold on. Not ready for the video to play. It's by no means about being an expert, but it's really about learning, about asking questions. So I think one of the biggest things that you guys can do to be prepared is to understand what's out there and just have the opportunity to see what AI can do. And again, regardless of where you're at on your journey of, I'm not quite sure about AI, or maybe you think it's going to take over the world, or maybe you think it's the greatest thing ever. How do we prepare? We start by asking questions. We start by understanding what's out there and what's available. So the first thing I was going to show you guys is a quick video about ChatGPT. How many of you are familiar with ChatGPT? If you are familiar with it, I would love if you take just a minute in the chat to share some of the ways that you're already using ChatGPT. And then for those of you who are unfamiliar, or maybe some of the pieces that are newer to you within ChatGPT, I'm going to play this video for you guys. I might use it to help write like rec letters. Love that. All right, here's that video. I love this sweet little video of a kiddo that's thinking about this hedgehog and how they're able to make this hedgehog come to life. And I just think about our learners and just the variety of passions and hobbies and just their imaginations and creativity and how we can use things such as ChatGPT to create images and help bring some of their stories or dreams to life. Something to keep in mind when you're thinking about ChatGPT, it is not connected to the internet. So depending upon which version of ChatGPT you're using, ChatGPT 4 only goes up until 2023. So if you were to ask it about a current day event, it would not know about it. Something else to keep in mind is it will make stuff up. So just like we tell our kids when they're searching on Google to find information, and why we really like to encourage them to leverage databases. We've got some amazing databases within Mac and VIA that we know have reputable sources and information. We also know that our kids will Google things and just look at the very first thing that pops up and just take it as complete truth. The same thing is true with ChatGPT. Like, it's so important that we're teaching our kids skills to ask questions, to really dig deeper and ensure that the information they're finding is accurate, because ChatGPT is a people pleaser. It will try to make up information if it doesn't have the right information. So just keep that in mind as you're probing it and asking questions within ChatGPT. For those of you that haven't used it before, I'm going to kind of Well, that was fun. Sorry about that. I thought maybe I forgot how to use Zoom, but I lost you guys. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, I am going to hop over here to a different screen once my computer loads back up and realizes what's happening. So for those of you who have not used ChatGPT before, I was just going to show it to you real quickly. If you would like to follow along, you can. And on the presentation, there's some information on how to get logged in. Again, you by no means have to create an account and do this, but if you would like to, you can. So ChatGPT essentially looks like this chatbot, if you will, and you can ask it questions. So maybe for today, instead of giving you session norms, maybe I wanted some session norms. Can you please provide session norms for a virtual webinar about artificial intelligence? I can't type and talk at the same time. And that's why I have Grammarly turned on. Okay. So one thing too to note, as you were asking questions in ChatGPT or in any of these platforms, you can always ask follow-up questions, but there truly is an art and a craft to writing questions in a way that's going to prompt the response that you're looking for. Quality in, like whatever quality you put in is the same quality you get out. So really just thinking about some of you have probably seen our kids ask ChatGPT something before and just copy and paste that response. Like, it is so important to ask those right questions and ensure that we're providing the level of specificity we need to get the right responses. It's like, even looking at this, like, this isn't necessarily what I was looking for. So I could have been more intentional in the question that I provided. And we do have some really great resources and content, and we'll be providing some more sessions around prompt writing if that's something that you're interested in. And as a follow-up, I can even include, we've kind of created a library of common things that you guys are doing every day in the classroom and some good prompts that could help you get started and asking it. I saw in the chat some people are using it to write recommendation letters or help create lesson ideas. So we've got some great prompts that you guys can use. But I'm going to give you guys just a minute to play around with ChatGPT if you haven't already. They do have the option to attach things. I believe you have a limit if you're using the free version of ChatGPT as far as how many things you can upload or attach when you're asking it to create content. You'll also notice on the left-hand side, it kind of keeps a record of all the different chats that you've had. So if I wanted to go back and think about, oh, I did ask it to come up with a beach theme for our summer conference. And so some of these might seem familiar, but if I wanted to go back to that conversation, I could, and then I could continue asking further questions within the platform. So I'm going to switch my screen back, and then I'm going to give you guys just a minute to ask any questions you might have. Feel free to unmute or to pop them in the chat, and I'll put up those instructions for those of you that are new to ChatGPT and wanting to get logged in. I'm going to go back for just a minute and read some of these great things that you guys are using. Oh, we're using it for already, thinking about how to better understand a specific content area or subject. Coming up with word problems, helping with emails. You guys already have some great ideas and some great ways you're using it. I love the question about in what ways does CISD limit use of AI? So something that's pretty exciting that we are getting ready to launch. We are in the process of creating an AI committee that will be starting over the summer and into next year, really having some of these conversations and discussions around what is AI? How do we believe in CISD that it should be used? And like any type of guidelines that you create, it oftentimes affects many other policies. So as we start to establish some of these guidelines within CISD, that also will affect things such as our grading policies, such as our behavior policies, and all of that kind of trickles down, and you'll start to see some implications of that in our handbook. So we're definitely looking for not only administrators, but also educators that are passionate and interested in being a part of that and just having their voice be a part of the conversation. And even just thinking about once we do have these guidelines, what are the recommended tools and platforms that are out there? I know during the pandemic, we saw so many amazing educational digital learning platforms that really made it huge in the scene. And then suddenly we all fell in love and we're like, this is the best platform ever. And then they put up a paywall and it costs a lot of money to continue to use. So just thinking about as a district, what are those tools or platforms that we believe in, that we want to encourage our teachers to use? And another big piece of that is the conversation just around data privacy and security as well. And ensuring that whatever product or platform we're recommending not only our educators to use or potentially learners to use, that it is taking care of and protecting our own data and not using the data that we're putting into these platforms to train that large language model that we talked about earlier. So the district currently does not pay for ChatGPT-4. That's a great question. Ooh, and I love the idea, Mary Johnson, that you provided about using it to help write social stories for your learners. All right. Any other big questions about ChatGPT? I know this one is a very common platform, but just if anyone has any questions before we hop on, otherwise I'm going to go ahead and hop to our next tool that we're going to talk about. If you're looking for something to try, here's a prompt that you can use. And again, I'll make sure that you guys have access to these slides afterwards as well and the recording. You can ask it to create a team building activity for your third grade math class. Many of my learners enjoy, and then you can insert the hobby. Notice in this prompt, there's definitely some specificity. It's even including the specific number of minutes you would like them to work in this activity and how many people are going to be in a group. All right. So one of my favorites that the district does provide for everyone is Canva. Has anyone played with the magic features within Canva? We've got a few. All right, I'm going to take just a minute to show some of these magic features. I'm going to pop up to the next screen. If you don't know how to get into Canva, here are the instructions. Again, completely up to you. You are free to just watch, but if you'd like to follow along, I encourage you to take a minute to dive into Canva. I know mine's probably going to ask me to duo and all those fun things again. Okay, let me share the screen over here. So here I am in Canva. Again, if you're not in Canva and want to follow along, you can go to sso.coppellisc.com and click on that Canva option and SSO into Canva. I am going to create just a blank present. Well, actually, let me start here. So there's some cool new updates to Canva. You can actually ask it what you want to design today. And if you use 5 or more descriptive words, it can actually start a design for you. So I'm going to tell it to create a back to school party flyer. And so up here at the top, you'll see where it says magic design. Of course, it's going to give you great templates, but this magic design is really leveraging those words that you put in to start something for you. So you'll notice that I've got some back to school bash, these different templates that it's now created that I could then open up and take a step further and keep designing. So this is really great. I don't know about you, I love Canva, but sometimes I can get lost in the hundreds, it feels like thousands of awesome templates. So sometimes when I just need like something a little more specific, I love to use that magic design option to give it a prompt and just see some of the specific things that it comes up with. Sometimes it helps me a little more than really looking through all the templates because I can get pretty lost in there. For the sake of playing today, I'm just going to open a blank design. And once you're in here, inside of apps, I really love this Magic Media. Has anyone had the opportunity to play with Magic Media before? Got to circle back to my chat so I can see. So Magic Media will allow you to create images. How many times have you been trying to find the perfect image for either something you're creating, or maybe you've written like a story problem for the kids and you're looking for the specific image that you want? I can spend hours searching for the perfect image that I want. So something that I really love in here is this Magic Media option that allows you to create images. So I'm going to tell it to create a photo of a dog on a skateboard eating ice cream in the park. I don't know. I need some more coffee to come up with something more exciting. You also might have noticed there are different like feature options. So if you're looking for something that's more of a watercolor or different design features, you can add that as well. But then here's my dog in a park eating ice cream. Oops. Pretty cool, huh? And here's those styles again. So I can, if I want to make it look, well, it's already a photo. If I wanted to make it look more anime, click generate again and see what it comes up with. So this will work for images, graphics, and videos. And again, built right into Canva that we have for everyone as a district. Canva has signed our data privacy policy agreements that we know all of our data is being protected and taken care of when using Canva, which is really exciting as well. And then, like I said, there's also this whoop, 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 lost my mouse, video option as well. So you can ask it to create a video.
Amanda, I have a quick question. I'm sorry. I have the kids have access to this. They've seen this and I've seen some of their work. But the other one, the magic words, do they have access to that? Because I know this past school year we were trying to use some features and they couldn't with their CISD account, they weren't able to get the magic word, but they could do the magic media.
I'm gonna write your name down and look into that, because one thing I do know is they used to have access to it, but Canva made some changes to some of their features, and now the permissions have to be turned on. So it makes me wonder if that's a feature that just like reverted to being off unless the admin goes in and turns it on. So let me check into that for you, because I know it's something that they could have access to. It just could be that that setting got switched over. But thank you for bringing that up, because I now am going to hop into a document. So similar to ChatGPT, um, I'm so bad at navigating and talking all at the same time. I am going to create a document, and it has this magic words, and this is built into some of their other designs as well, but you can ask it, create a list of fun summer activities to do. You can also ask it to write letters and all of those other things that you guys had mentioned, but I can use this magic write option. Oops. Like now I'm not gonna be able to use it in top magic write. Custom prompt. Boom. There we go. You'll notice in there it also had options such as shorten, rewrite, paraphrase. So there are some other great features within that magic write component as well. So it's created my list of things to do. Again, I'm just going to pop that open so you can see. You can also change the voice. Let me undo this so you can see this part. Magic write. So you can shorten, rewrite, you can make it more fun, more formal. I'm not sure what Sprinkle Fairy Dust does. That one's new to me. We'll see. It's thinking really hard. Anyways, there's some really great things that you can do inside of Canva that leverage AI. Oh, craft a scroll of joyous summer pastimes. It rewrote it for me. It definitely sounds like magical fairy dust. But there's some really cool things in here that you can do. One thing that I do want to note that doesn't really leverage AI, but in case you haven't seen it, Canva's really up their game with translations, and you can translate content within Canva. One thing that was a huge game changer to me, I know this isn't a Canva session, I apologize. You can upload PDFs and then translate an entire PDF within Canva just by clicking that upload button and then using the translate feature. So in addition to all the great AI pieces that are in here, Canva also just has amazing templates, graphics, and great features for us to use as educators. If you have any questions about using any of those AI features within Canva, again, feel free to throw those in the chat. I'm going to switch back to my other screen and keep going through this presentation. We do have some great sessions on Canva coming up. So, ooh, jumped like way ahead. If you would like to check those out, we've got several coming over the next couple weeks. Sorry, it like jumped way ahead. Okay, so another tool that I like to share with people, has anyone seen Copilot? It's Microsoft's generative text platform. Again, you by no means have to go create an account, but it does work through your district account. So just like your normal @copilisd.com email address, if you like, you can navigate to copilot.microsoft.com and then sign in with your work email, and your @copilisd email account should work. I still have it pulled up over here. So let me play the video and then I'll give you guys a quick little demo of Copilot and share why I love it so much. Oh, the video is gone. That's okay. So let's do this. Share. Back over here. Okay, so this is Copilot. Once you're signed in, just make sure that you've got this little protected symbol, which shows that you're signed in with your organization and it's not sharing your data. But some of the things that I really love about Copilot is it will generate images. you can choose your conversation style, but perhaps my favorite is after you give it a prompt, it's actually going to give you information that tells you where it pulled that the pieces of your response from. So let's actually just use this. Create a lesson on addition, or I should have had something prepared and ready to copy and paste in here. For second grade, first grade learners, please include some fun story problems. So you'll notice once it comes up with the response at the bottom, it actually provides links of the different sources that it pulls information from. Here it's coming up with objectives. And see at the bottom, I can learn more at Splash Learn. And so you can click on these to go learn more or see some of the pieces that it's pulled out. So I really love that. Something to note about Copilot is it does not, remember, it's not saving your data. So while I love ChatGPT and being able to go back to my conversation and continue to ask questions or prompt it further, it is not going to save this information. So it's really important, if you like the information that it gave you, to push this copy button and paste it somewhere, or to export this information so that you can access it again later, because I'm very notorious for starting something and getting distracted and like, oh yeah, that's what I'm working on, and circling back to it. So I just like to make sure that I point out, remember, in Copilot, you've got to use that copy button or that export button. And then I love too that it gives you some additional suggestions to continue that conversation further. So how can I make Addition more interactive? I have used Copilot in my personal life to tell it like, hey, I have these ingredients in my pantry, come up with a recipe using these different ingredients. And it's always super fun to see what it comes up with. Just another great tool and resource as you're thinking about your own workflows and the things that you're doing in the classroom and how you can use this. Here are some examples. Sorry, I was reading the comments over here. So here's a little try it if you want to try something. Create a new mnemonic device or memory hook. So you could prompt it to see what it comes up with. But at the end, almost to the end of this, I've got some other things that you can try as well. And again, I encourage you to check out Copilot, just depending upon what I'm doing, especially if I'm creating an image or if I really do want to see some of those sources that it's providing. I prefer to use Copilot. But again, you've got to remember that copy button and that download button. And again, a bonus for that as well within Copilot is that you can use your district account and you don't have to create an account to use it. And then I'd just like to mention too, there are tons of other tools out there. Eduaid might be familiar to you, Magic School. I feel like the list is just getting longer by the day of other tools that are out there and available. Just remember that many of these aren't truly trained on pedagogy. So just thinking about and remembering the prompt that you are using when you're asking questions. A great thing about some of the tools such as Eduaid is it is already kind of building that prompt for you and you're just filling in the blanks, if you will. So if you've used Eduaid before, you can tell it that you want to create a lesson plan and it just has a box for you to put the grade, copy and paste your standards, and then it has a few other questions. So instead of having to write your prompt from start to finish, it kind of already has that done for you. However, there are limitations with that as well, especially as you get better at prompt writing and knowing specifically what you're looking for. There's a lot of power in being able to use something that doesn't necessarily use those pre-created prompts to provide information for you. Also, something that was new to me is Khan Academy has a program called Conmigo. So they have some really great features in there as well. It's pretty pricey for kids, but it's free for educators. So if you haven't checked out Conmigo, Khanmigo, it's definitely a great resource and tool to check out. And again, I just like to preface to whether it's Eduate or Magic School or any of these tools or resources, just be cognizant that many of them start out free, like we saw in the pandemic with many digital tools and platforms, and then they quickly become paid, or you only get to use it 5 different times before you don't get to use it for free. So really thinking about some of our district tools, specifically Canva, Copilot, and how we can use the tools that we do have for free to do the work that we're looking to do with AI. So the last little piece of this, how do we prepare our learners? Really just, again, thinking about these skills, like as you see how AI can be used, think about self-management, curiosity, self-awareness, social awareness, leadership. All of these are not things that AI is going to be able to teach our kids. Sure, they could ask ChatGPT, hey, how can I become a better leader? And maybe it's going to provide them some suggestions on how they can do that. But actually taking that action and actually putting that into practice is something that AI isn't going to be able to replace. And so I say that just to reiterate the importance of you as an educator really promoting and fostering these skills within our learners and giving them the opportunities to be curious, to be leaders, to make those responsible decisions, and just the essential role that you guys play. And I love going back to that first video, thinking about how we can be intentional in using AI for some of our practices. Maybe it is helping us get started with that recommendation letter. Maybe you're feeling stuck with an email and it can provide some suggestions to get you started, and how by using it intentionally, it frees up our time so that we can be more intentional and really providing our kiddos these opportunities and really fostering that within our classrooms. I'm going to leave you with this. We envision a technology enhanced future more like an electric bike and less like robot vacuums. On an electric bike, the human is fully aware and fully in control, but the burden is less and their effort is multiplied by the supporting technology. So I really love this. This is from the Digital Promise. And it just really captures the essence of the power of AI. And again, it's not about AI taking over, but we are still in control. But how can it help lighten the burden so that we can be more intentional in doing other things in the classroom? I know we didn't get to that choice board and some of the opportunities to really test and practice some of the things that we shared, but I hope that this gave you guys just a big picture overview of AI, some things to think about. Maybe you learned a new tool or two. And again, we've got lots of others, and I'm always happy to share more and to talk through some of the tools and some of the ways you can use it in their classroom. I leave you with this last meme: AI will replace a teacher's job. And here's AI accepting the job. These are all AI created images. So just a funny, it's AI has come a long ways, but it's still got a long ways to go. Some of these hands have way too many fingers and honestly too many hands. So I'd just like to share that to again remind you that you are in control and you are in that driver's seat, but just thinking about what are some of those things you spend a lot of your time that isn't directly interacting with the kids that AI can maybe increase your efficiency and productivity and help lighten the load. All right, that is all I have for you guys. Again, if you hopped on a little late or you weren't here when I had shared, please make sure that your name is either showing up as your actual name so you get credit. And if not, please throw it in the chat so that we can get you credit for your time today. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your summer to learn alongside me. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your summer. Thanks again.
Thank you.